as you recognize that spirituality and enlightenment is ultimately the path of exposing the truth so that way you see the reality of the universe and the reality of yourself. You see the reality that you and the universe are one with one another. And that when you practice things like self-awareness and mindfulness, you allow yourself to enlighten the world, the reality within your mind that you are constantly creating, but also the ego, because it is the ego that is stopping you from achieving your dreams, ultimately achieving your purpose and why you are here. But since we don't often go deep into exposing the ego, we usually try to avoid it, or we try to shut it down or even kill it. We then refuse to actually expose the truth about the whole of who you are. You see, when you think about the ego, many times people are thinking about the ego death, but the ego is a part of you. And if you are talking about killing it, which is really impossible in this physical world, you are essentially talking about avoiding and not facing up to it, not learning how to manage it so that way you can put it in its proper place, and thus it can be something that you can use as a tool, such as everything else about you, right? Recognize that the ego, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, these are all tools. Even your physical body, these are all tools for you, your consciousness, to actually attain and achieve your purpose. Thus, by way of goals, goal setting, goal achievement, manifestation, materialization. So this path is about using all of those tools, and you get to do that by really questioning all of the belief systems that you were brought up with, the belief systems that you were told to have, that you have accepted. And now is the time for you to actually challenge and question those belief systems and ask yourself, do they really help and support you? Are they really productive along your spiritual journey? And you can ask yourself those questions, and usually the answer will come about in ways of not feeling sure, or just really not feeling like they are 100% truth for you. They don't resonate with you completely, right? You can't put 100% of your faith in it, maybe like 95% of your faith, right? But not 100% of your faith, because it doesn't just sit and resonate with the core of who you are. And so more importantly than focusing on exposing the ego and what it is that it does, what it's supposed to do, and how it's blocking you from achieving your goals and ultimately your purpose, right, toward self-realization and enlightenment, the ego is the thing that is stopping you from even going forward into going into enlightenment, right? Because we think that enlightenment is something that is impossible to obtain unless you are some sage or some highly advanced spiritual being, which is who exactly you are. You are an advanced, enlightened spiritual being who just needs to be reminded. You need to rediscover your truth. But in the process of enlightenment and exposing this truth, it is not about so much the ego as the main focus or the main objective of enlightenment. It's not so much exposing the ego. It's really about exposing the truth about your consciousness, exposing the truth about who you really are. Because though the ego is a part of who you are, the core, the root, the thing by which all aspects of you grow out of is consciousness. And when you understand that, then yes, it is important to recognize how to put the ego in its proper place. But what point is that if the true essence of who you are is not recognized, is not, being something that you are being led by or paying attention to? So you must recognize and see that your consciousness is the point of all of this. Recognizing it, listening to it, being guided by it is what essentially is going to lead you to fulfilling your purpose, lead you to being able to achieve goals that will ultimately lead you to the ultimate goal, right? Which is spiritual enlightenment, which is true self-realization, coming into the understanding as to who you are. And as you go on this journey, you're going to see that, yes, the ego will pop its head up. The ego will have whispers and try to implant doubt, because we are accustomed to listening to the ego, right? You are accustomed to listening to that voice. You are accustomed to thinking that voice is in fact you, but it is not. The true you, the true voice of who you are is consciousness, leading you through the way, letting you know we need to approach, or we need to think about these dreams, these aspirations. We need to figure out a way to move forward so that way we can actually obtain and achieve the desires, the passions, the adventures, the joy which lays ahead when you actually pursue the things that you dream about and want to pursue. So ultimately, enlightenment is about recognizing your divine essence and taking that, understanding that it is your goals that are going hand to hand with that divine essence. There is your divine essence, and there is the goals that you will seek to achieve. And as you are seeking to achieve these goals, you are thus evolving more into this divine essence, essentially becoming more and more of yourself. And this is why goals are so important, because they allow you to continue to tap in to that divine power, to the divine truth as to who you are. And so this is why it seems like, well, there is spiritual enlightenment, the practice of awareness and really observing thoughts, feelings, emotions, habits, and recognizing that by implementing and creating goals to actually obtain and achieve certain aspects of life that you wish to experience, lifestyle, finances, romance, relationships, connections, right? That one actually connects with the other. We think that one comes before the other, that in order to obtain enlightenment, you must set those goals. In order for you to set goals, you must be spiritually enlightened in order to fulfill those goals, right? So we go back and forth with this concept of, well, I need to do one in order for me to obtain or achieve the other. But no, what you need to do is first practice the belief or the understanding of spiritual enlightenment by seriously focusing on your awareness. That is all spiritual enlightenment is, being mindful and being aware as to what's going on in your mind, in your reality, just simply observing it. That is spiritual awareness. That is enlightenment. You are lighting up the room that is your mind, that is your reality, okay? And thus, when you do that, then you can implement particular goals to achieve, materializing and manifesting the things that you desire. Once you do that, it will then feed back to your spiritual enlightenment. You coming into a space of recognizing who you are more and more as you obtain and achieve these particular goals. I mentioned before that it's about thinking about the micro and the macro goals, right? The micro is the small goals that you're setting for yourself. But then there is a macro goal, which is ultimately the big experience, the ultimate grand finale of why we are here, to coming to that self-realization. So when you recognize that these practices, right, or this one practice of self-awareness is actually the thing that you need to constantly recognize and put in play every single moment possible. And it only takes less than a second to truly practice this. Many times we avoid it because we are constantly distracting ourselves from doing so. Again, distracting yourself from addressing the ego, addressing the dark aspect of who you are, the young aspect of who you are, not addressing the things that actually are necessary to make you whole and complete. So the more you neglect, avoid, and don't want to face that part of you, the less likely you are going to achieve the things that you desire. The less likely you're going to actually obtain, creating, generating opportunities, abundance, love, and success. So you have to recognize that you have to look at the complete picture of who you are. And when you do that, then you connect with all aspects of who you are, but also the essence of you being a creator, the essence of you being able to create anything that you desire in this life, because that is the objective. That is the point. That is why you are here. So embrace that. Embrace enlightening and exposing the ego. but more importantly, exposing consciousness and recognizing the truth as to who you are. So now you go forward in life, continuing to practice self-awareness. It's really a simple exercise of asking yourself, or really stepping back in your own mind, visualize yourself, your body, and then visualize yourself stepping out of your own body and simply observing your body, observing where you are, then observing the thoughts that are coming through and in and out of your mind, observing the emotions that are coming in and out of your heart, right? The way your body feels. Everything that you can observe, recognize that those things are not you because you are observing those things. There is the separation. And once you see that, then you can understand that, okay, these things are simply expressions. These things are simply byproducts, okay, of the ego, of the subconscious, right? Of even you being present and in the moment, but it's ultimately not who you are. And when you recognize that, then you can see that, okay, I don't have to identify with these things if they don't serve me, if they don't connect with my divine purpose. This is how you see now the consciousness. This is where the truth, this is where the enlightenment happens, because now you recognize who you are versus everything else. And though those things can be seen as an aspect, an expression of you, they are not you, okay? So just like you would say, my arm hurts, my leg hurts, okay, they are not you. They are just parts, expressions of you. There are extensions of you, but they are not you in itself. So look at all aspects of what you are observing when you are practicing awareness and mindfulness, and then you can recognize what is you, what's important to you, and then you can begin to set the goals to actually achieve what it is that you're meant to, right? What your purpose is, what you're custom built for. Thank you so much. Continue to join me on this journey. Please go to drabundant.com and subscribe to my newsletter and get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. I also invite you to join my Conscious Creator Circle, which is a subscription-based membership that allows you to go deeper and deeper into this while giving you lots of techniques and ways to actually open up your consciousness and recognize the divinity within you and that you are a conscious creator. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.